Alright guys, so in this video we're going to go ahead and look at how to do static values in static files, right? So, what do I mean by that? Well, if we go right now over to our views, for example, I look at my code here, excuse me, you see that I have my CSS inside of my HTML file, which is not great. So let's go ahead and separate those things, right? So first of all, let me go ahead and have this run again, and we have start. Server's running. So now, normally the way this works is we need to have a folder called public. And again, make sure when you create your folder, you're not inside of any other of these folders. Now, inside of the public folder is where I'm going to have any type of file that I want on top of like my regular HTML, right? So in this instance, I'm going to go ahead and create another folder inside of public. And I'm going to call this CSS. And just so it doesn't do this like little like public /CSS, I'm going to click here on public again, so I am on the top level, and I create another folder. I'm going to call this JS. So that way we have those two folders in there, and they are separate, and there's like no confusion where you're putting your files, okay? So inside of my CSS folder, I'm going to create a file called main.css, okay? That is inside of my CSS file. Now, let me go over to, let's use the shop as an example. Let me grab the CSS, going too far. Cut that out. I'm going to get rid of the style tags. I'm going to paste this right here, right? So I got my CSS in there. And then in the HTML itself, we're going to go ahead and do a link CSS. And then we're going to change this to main. Now, excuse me. Just ate it again. Getting a little bit sleepy. The way we would normally do it, right? So we know we have our public folder in there, and we are inside of the views, right? So again, we would do / public CSS and then main, right? Let's save that and then go over here, refresh the page, and to no one's surprise, our CSS is gone. It's set to break, just because, again, because we are using Express, this does not work right off the bat, right? So what we need to do is actually bring this in through what's called a static URL or a static field in Express. So how do we do that? Well, I'm glad you asked. We're going to go over to app.js. Then we're going to import another thing, right? And this instance, let me just do it here, so that way we have separation. We're going to do app.use. And then we're going to go ahead and bring in Express. This is something that's already built into Express. And then we're going to do .static. Open up parentheses, and then we're going to bring in the field of where our static resources are at. So we're going to do path.join. Open up parentheses, __ their name, comma, and then the name of the folder. So we're going to do public. Okay. Now, when we say that, this still will not work because we need to, and you can see like down here in the console log, we can kind of get like something like, hey, you try to get this and it did not work. So what we need to do is in shop, no, not a shop, in the HTML shop, we need to change how this guy is behaving. So we're going to go ahead and just remove the public in that part, just leaving the /CSS/main. Okay, so let me refresh this again. And now our styles are back. Okay, now we need to go ahead and do this, for example, for our product as well. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, keep in mind that, for example, for the product itself, I have some extra CSS, so we need to be careful. So around line 56 is where the CSS that is not duplicated starts. So we're going to grab this right before the style, we're going to cut it out, and then just delete everything else inside of the style tags, including the style tags. Create our link, CSS. This instance, let's go ahead and call this product. And it's going to be inside of our CSS, right? So same thing, we're going to go public CSS, new folder, not new folder, don't do that, new file, and product.css, paste that guy in there. Now, since we are breaking this up, we need to go ahead and also do it for the main, else it's not going to fully load in. And again, that's because we have the main styles in the main and then just the product styles in product, so we need to import the main styles as well. Save that out. And now we go to product, it stays the same. Now, just to show you guys, if I were to remove this guy, you see the main styles break and we are left with the product style, right? So again, we need to be careful when we are working in that manner, okay? Now, this works the exact same way, for example, for the JavaScript files, right? So for example, we could have a JavaScript file in here that does something, and we would basically just need to import it over here, and that would be it, right? So, relatively straightforward, but very powerful nonetheless, all right? So, let me go ahead and explain the assignment for this, right? So you're going to go ahead and create a new project, and you can basically copy what we have right here if you want. And again, I would suggest you actually do that, because again, repetition helps with memorization and understanding, right? So in this instance, go ahead and copy the structure. What I want you guys to do is not so much the CSS, but create a JavaScript file in here. So for example, inside of my JavaScript folder, inside of the public, I'm going to create something like I'm completely blanking out right now. I'm trying to remember what the default script.js, so let's call that. You're going to create a script.js, and then you're going to have it execute whenever you load in. So this guy is going to have, let's say, alert. My public route is working, so I want you guys to go ahead and have this actually display whenever you load in one HTML. Well, technically you can have two HTML pages and then just go back and forth between them. So that way, again, you know, for example, let me refresh. Like as I click these guys, both of these guys, when I click them, I want them to execute the little script.js that says my public route is working. Okay, so that is going to be your assignment. Again, do it from scratch. Don't do it in this one. Let me just get rid of this guy. And again, you know, you can base yourself completely off of this. It should work. So, have at it.